One of my favorite back roads. Getting situated again. It's supposed to be a nice sunny warm day. Instead it says 44 degrees and cloudy. It'll lighten up somewhere here. You know, the way the F650GS was first presented to me was that, well, you know, it's detuned, not as powerful as the 800. It's made for more of an entry-level-ish type rider. Easier price point into a BMW. Hopefully those people will step up to another GS later. And basically is a commuter street bike. Not meant to go off-road, as you know, different suspension, no skid plate whatsoever. So my hopes weren't real high for this bike, but I gotta tell you, this bike is so much more than how I expected it to be from what I was told. It's a really great bike. It's a great traveling bike. It'd be a great commuter bike, and it's capable of quite a bit. I mean, it's actually a much better street bike, curves particularly, than the F800GS. This comes because of the 19-inch front wheel, lower suspension, it's slightly lighter, and it steers predictably everywhere. It steers easily with a lot of confidence, and it feels very natural, more natural than the F800GS does, which feels a little bit more like kind of a tall dual sport bike to a degree, not a huge degree. Whereas this bike feels like a street bike in regards to sharp, tight corners. I thought it was kind of a cop-out on the styling, taking the GS name. You know, it's not really a GS, but this bike does retain the character of a GS. I mean, it's great on back roads, bumpy, nasty. It's great on dirty corners. You're not freaking out because it's dirty, you just ride. It's really, really good. So from that standpoint, it definitely is a GS. And the suspension on the street, on the nasty, choppy stuff on the street, has been excellent as well. So the bike is far more than I expected it to be, and I really love it. And I was trying to think, okay, what do I like most about it? And I couldn't put my finger on anything. Other than I came up to what I like most about the bike is I like it as a package altogether. You know, great steering, great shifting. The brakes are much more than I expected from basically half the front brake of the F800GS. You know, our bike's anti-lock equipped, and it's really cool. So let's step it up a little bit and show you this is not just a commuter, easy riding bike. Ouch, somebody got a bird. Now this road gets dirty. Well, it can be dirty anywhere. It gets dirtier the farther you get along it. This is a great bike for that. Whereas some bikes, you'd be freaking out. Steering is great, round stuff. Now it steers pretty quick, not flickable quick, just sure and steady. Which kind of meets the design objective, to give people a bike, you know, easier to ride, real on torque, you know, a little less intimidating, not that the others are intimidating. And you know, places like this, anti-lock, great thing to have when it's nasty underneath you. The only thing that holds the 650 back is it's really, really tall gearing. Probably the same gearing as the 800. I was trying to confirm that with BMW, didn't get a response. But it's geared way too high. I mean, if you can change a countershaft out and get this thing geared lower, it would just wake it up. As it is, sometimes it's a little bit between, you have to shift more often. The same great sound as the 800, although a little bit less of a bark. You can't hear it all the time like the 800, but still sounds really good and making it quite fun. The other thing that makes this bike fun versus boring, as I thought might be the case, I'll watch the road for a second, is the hit that the engine has in the upper mid-range. It hits making it fun. It hits making it very capable of those aggressive passes you want to make on back roads. It'll do it just fine. You have to get it up there in the power range a little bit more, and then it does everything you need it to. Turn my electric heat down here as it warms up. I mean, some bikes you'd never be, going over sand in the road with one hand without worrying in the least. And that's with full street tires. And the tires, by the way, just completely satisfied with them. I mean, we'll talk about it later probably, but this bike has been through rain, cold, freezing, everything, and all around the tires have been excellent everywhere. No complaints, nothing but a really good match to the bike. Once again, that package deal you get with this bike. Another thing about this bike is you just don't mind leaning it over farther and farther. A lot of bikes, even if they're sport bikes, I mean, sometimes you just don't feel as comfortable leaning them over. You have to get used to it. This one, love to lean this thing over. Very confidence inspiring.